Dr. L.D. Britt, world-renowned surgeon and chairman of the Department of Surgery at Eastern Virginia Medical School. He's the first African American to have an endowed chair in surgery. His awards and accomplishments are staggering, but even more impressive is the discipline and determination he's applied throughout his career, driven to make the healthcare system better for all.
I started up in the segregated South, in Suffolk, Virginia. My mother, myself, my aunt, father. If we had to go to a doctor's office, we had to pack a lunch and a dinner. You had to spend hours because they did not have that many physicians in the community. I knew then that was a problem. And my whole career has been dedicated to trying to address the disparities in healthcare.
Determined to tackle the issue of disparity head-on, Dr. Britt applied to Harvard Medical School after completing his undergraduate degree at the University of Virginia. It was suggested he set his sights lower. He applied anyway and got in. In fact, he was the only student from his class that year to be accepted into Harvard.
I wanted to go to the top school. There were other good schools, don't get me wrong, there were other good schools, but when he said that was the top school, but don't set your sights that high, I just locked in, and the rest is history.
Throughout his life, Dr. Britt has benefited from the wisdom and support of others, starting with his parents, who were strong examples of discipline and hard work. And he was also inspired by some of Howard University's finest.
I've had mentors, Dr. LaSalle LaFall, who's at Howard University, was the former chief of surgery and past president of the college. Dr. Clive Callender, who's still there. There are a lot of people there. The president of Howard University, Dr. Wayne Frederick, Dr. O.W. Hoffler, Oswald Hoffler. He was one of the last trainees of Dr. Charles Drew at Howard University. And so for me to receive this recognition, it touches home.
Dr. Britt derives much joy from his family, his wife Charlene, who is also a physician, and his daughter Avery, who may one day pursue the family business. But in his work life, the payoffs come with the responsibility of looking after a patient.
For a patient to say, you can take care of me, you can violate my body, you can cut it open, you can remove something, you can do this, you can examine me, that's a privilege. And I don't ever take that for granted. And I try to bring my A game every interface.
One could argue that being the first African American endowed chair is pretty high up there in the honors category. Yet Dr. Britt sees his chairmanship as a result of sustained effort.
It's a high mountain because you have to go through a lot of training. You have to go through 4 years of medical school, 7 to 9 years of surgical training. You start off as an instructor, then you go to assistant professor, so it's a long climb. And so it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Dr. Britt is not only a patient's advocate, he also works to reduce disparities among doctors. Minorities comprise only 6% of practicing physicians today. The L.D. Britt Scholarship Fund is helping to better those numbers.
I've tried to address that disparity by trying to have more scholarships for well-qualified students who don't have that financial backing.
Like most people, Dr. Britt has faced hurdles while building his life and career, not the least of which was discrimination. He handled that resolutely, like everything else.
My weapon was being excellent. If you're excellent, you can strike down all of the biases and discrimination and all that.
And he has done that, knocking down barriers, achieving mastery on many levels. Yet one big challenge remains, and it's the one that prompted him to be a doctor in the first place.
But what has been steady state and a consistent, continuous challenge for us has been healthcare. To me, that's the biggest challenge facing this country. I feel that you need to go beyond your vocation, beyond your profession, and do more, because the public demands that. If you just did what you were trained to do and we just stay in our little silos, I'm not sure we'll be able to address some of the disparities in the various communities. I'm not talking about health, I'm talking about all the disparities. So you have to extend yourself, and I think that's key. If people ask me to describe myself, I'm a public servant who happens to be a surgeon.
Dr. L.D. Britt, surgeon, teacher, mentor, public servant, and now a 2016 Howard University honorary degree recipient. Congratulations, Dr. Britt.